Okay, so we've now moved on to section 12. And if we're taking a look at the whole Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, we concluded the first section, which is all the steps of starting the day. And we moved on to the next section, which deals with prayer. So it says over here, sections 12, 13, and 14, but really after the selections of prayer, the sections of prayer actually take you through about 6 to 8 chapters in their own right. So this really will go through guiding a Jew how to daven in every step of the way. So we start with preparing for davening, and then where we daven, and then finally how we daven. So yesterday we began with preparing to daven. We said there are 4 general preparations: the place that we're in, the clothing that we dress, our body, and our thoughts. And we touched upon clothing, about preparing our body through tzedakah, and making sure that we are in a healthy state to be able to daven, washing our hands, and then we moved on to place, and we said that there's something very special about davening with a minyan, and we said that the power of a minyan is so powerful that even if there's a sinner amongst the congregation, everybody's prayers in the community are brought on high and are accepted in heaven through the power of a minyan, which we pray for to be able to have the opportunity to be a part of very soon. Today we move on to what happens if you're traveling as far as getting to a minyan. How do you plan your travels to make sure to get to a minyan? This is obviously very relevant today when people, not today, but in the 21st century when people are traveling a lot. So how to coordinate to get to a minyan. And then we'll speak about the value of davening in a shul. So as far as getting to a minyan. So if you're traveling and you reach the place where you wish to lodge, so you find a nice hotel, and this looks like a great place to rest for the night. This could also apply if you're planning in advance. So if you're planning on going to, you want to drive down to Cape Town, and you're thinking I'll stay in a hotel along the way, and you're planning out your route. So he says, if ahead of you, within a distance of 4 mil, which is about 4 kilometers, which some of the commentaries explain, it's really the amount of time it takes to walk 4 kilometers. So it's more than 4 kilometers by car. It would be 72 minutes. So that might be if you're on the highway, it might be another 100 kilometers or 120 or 150 kilometers. So if ahead of you, within 4 mil, there's a place where there's a minyan, and you'll be able to reach that spot during the day. You won't have to travel at night. Then you should continue your travels until you reach that spot. Okay. So this is in South Africa, there aren't too many minyanim between the main cities, but certainly in other places of the world where there are many minyanim all along. So you have a choice. Either you could check into a hotel in, let's say you're driving from New York to Albany. And from New York to Albany, you could pass through Massachusetts, upstate New York. So either you could check into a hotel in maybe Connecticut, or you could check into a hotel in Massachusetts. I don't know if I've got my geography exactly right, but they're all somewhere in that area. So he's saying that if you'll be able to get to a further destination before it gets dark, and that further destination will have a minyan, as opposed to the earlier destination, which will not have a minyan, then you need to continue traveling or plan your travels in such a way that you check into a hotel specifically that has a minyan, because of the power of the minyan that we just spoke about, because of the importance of davening with the minyan. Okay. And not only that, but if you discover, or the same would be the reverse, if you want to check into a hotel in, let's say in Massachusetts, but the place where you're checking in, there's no minyan, but a mil backwards, a mil behind you, either you've already traveled or you're planning your travels, there is a minyan, so you should rather stop for the night a mil earlier, which is a kilometer, or if it's the time it takes to walk a kilometer, I think it's 12 minutes. No, 18 minutes. So you should rather get off 18 minutes earlier so that you can daven with the minyan, even though it means that you've progressed less on your journey. So again, we say rather go a lot further on the journey, up to 72 minutes more, which we said could be a good 150 Ks on the highway in order to get to the minyan, or rather stop earlier than you wanted to, which we're saying is about 18 minutes, or maybe that would be about 40 Ks earlier, so that you'll be able to daven with the minyan. So although you might not be having the scenario very soon, it certainly tells us the importance of davening with the minyan. You know, another example could be, you make it a little bit closer to home, if you are traveling, if you're driving from Johannesburg to Durban or to Balito. So I don't know what the difference is between Balito and Umhlanga. Umhlanga, they have a minyan every day. Balito, they don't. So if you're planning your trip and you have the possibility of specifically checking in, you could either get a hotel in Umhlanga Rocks, or you could get a hotel in Balito, or the same could go for either getting a hotel, I don't know, in Knysna or in Plet. So certainly preference should be given to check into a place that you will have a minyan. Okay. Needless to say that you should not depart from a place where a minyan davens if you'll be able to reach your destination while there's still daylight. So that's another great example. Let's say you're driving back from Umhlanga Rocks to Johannesburg. Okay. Now the whole trip is only about 6 hours, but you want to get back as soon as possible. So you say, maybe, you know, I want to miss morning traffic, so I'll head out of Umhlanga at, I don't know, 5, 6 a.m. so that I could get to Johannesburg as soon as possible. So he says, no, if you right now in a place where there's a minyan, rather wait, daven, and then when you finish davening, you'll move on. Or another example is if you are planning a flight to Cape Town. I had this actually, where I was going to a conference in Cape Town, and when I Googled the flights, there were a dozen or two of flights I could get onto literally every couple of minutes. So I planned, I was able to, because it was okay. I didn't have a time that I had to be at the conference. So I planned my day in such a way that the flight, this is actually what I did. I found out what time the minyan in Linksfield shul was, because they're only about 10 minutes from the airport. And then I got a flight it was to Cape Town. So I got a flight about an hour and a half after the minyan in Linksfield ended. And that way I was able to daven with the minyan and then get onto the flight and get to the conference. But had I gotten an earlier flight, then I would not have been able to daven with the minyan, because by the time I arrived in Cape Town, I would have missed all the minyanim there too, unless I went out really early, which wasn't an option. So that all tells us about how important it is to daven with a minyan. Now that said, a minyan doesn't make the davening. Davening is a mitzvah regardless of whether you have a minyan or not. So certainly one shouldn't think that if one could make it to shul, they will daven, and if not, not. Certainly, if one davens by himself, he fulfills the mitzvah of davening. However, a minyan takes the davening to a whole new level, and therefore one should try their best to be able to get to a minyan for davening. Now we move on to shuls and Torah centers and getting there early. So we spoke about with whom to daven with the minyan. Now we're going to speak about where to daven. Okay. So it's a great mitzvah to daven in a shul or a beis medrash, in the house of Torah study. Why? Because these are holy places. Which is why, by the way, if you have a shul and you want to use that space for something that's not particularly holy, you want to, let's say, have a dinner in shul, you wouldn't be allowed to. What some communities do is they have limited space. So when they make the shul, they originally make it on condition that it will be used as a shul during davening, and after shul, it gets converted into the bracha room. That's fine, because it was originally designated as such. But if a place was just made into a shul, then you're actually not allowed to even step inside just to relax and enjoy the air conditioner, as we we'll learn more about, or maybe we've learned about it already. I don't think we have. So a shul or a study hall is a very holy place. And therefore, even if there's no minyan, it is nevertheless a mitzvah to daven there, even when davening by oneself, because these are holy places. If you usually learn in a base medrash, in a study hall, then you should daven there as well with 10 people, even though in your city there's also a shul, meaning there's something advantageous to davening in a place of learning, even over davening in a shul, in the place that you usually learn, if you have a minyan. However, if you're not accustomed to studying in a base medrash, you should daven in a shul where there is a multitude of people, for in the multitude of people is the glory of Hashem, Roiv Am Hadras Melech, which means that the more people that are around adds to Hashem's glory, and therefore there's something special about davening with lots of people together. If there are, this is a really fascinating halacha, you would never believe it. If there are 2 shuls in your city, you should go to the more distant one in order to earn a reward for the added steps. As the Yeshua ben Levi says, okay, now that takes us on to the next point. So that's an interesting one. You get added reward for walking further. Obviously, as long as that's not going to detract you from getting to shul. If you're going to decide to get to the shul, go to the shul on the other end of town, and because of that, you're not going to get there as often, then that's not a good thing. But you should rather daven. But if anyhow you're going every day to shul 3 times a day, and you have a choice between 2 shuls, then he's saying rather go to the further one so you have the reward of walking there. I mean, nowadays you can listen to a shir on the way, so yeah. Okay, said Yeshua ben Levi, a person should always awaken early and go to a shul in order to be counted amongst the first 10 people. Because even if 100 come after him, he receives a reward equal to them all. There's something special about being from the first 10 people in shul. Our sages of blessed memory have also said, whoever goes morning and evening to the shul or base medrash learning center in the proper time and remains there the proper amount of time and conducts himself there with proper sanctity will merit long life. So we're getting a lot of blessings for long life. So we got from the tefillin and we got from the mezuzah, and now we're getting it from getting to shul. We say somebody who's particular about going to shul every day in the morning and evening, and he's there for the proper amount of time and he gives the proper amount of respect, that's another reason to be blessed with long life. As it is written, fortunate is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my door, meaning how fortunate is that Jew that's trying to make sure to always be there in shul. And it is written following this, the next verse says, for whoever finds me finds life. So we see over here that Hashem's rewards for somebody who makes a point of being in shul is longevity. Okay. We will continue discussing more the topic of the shul. So you should select a shul or base medrash or Torah study center in which to daven regularly, meaning you should have a set shul that you daven. You shouldn't just be shul hopping that every day you decide to go somewhere else. And within the shul, you should designate to yourself a specific place for prayer, meaning a person should have a set place where he davens. Now it's worth clarifying that obviously this shouldn't be a source of machlokes, meaning if somebody else comes into your seat, you should not make him feel uncomfortable. But if that's not a concern, meaning you don't kick somebody else out of your place, if that's going to make him feel not want to come back or make him upset. However, you should, as far as not getting anybody else upset, you should have a set place to daven. It's also worth mentioning that in the original Shulchan Aruch, it says that that set place should be within a space of Daled Amos, of 4 cubits. We've said that a cubit is about half a meter, which means it's about 2 square meters. So like in a shul where there are benches, it doesn't mean you have to be in the exact chair, or it's in that general vicinity, which also helps if somebody else is around. Okay. Oh yeah, he says it here. The area within a radius of 4 amos is still considered your place, and it is preferable to designate a place near a wall, if possible, as did King Chizkiyahu, as it is written, and Chizkiyahu turned his face to the wall and davened. And the obvious reason for that is because it's easier to concentrate. If you're in front of a wall or you're next to a wall, then there are less disturbances around you. When davening, you should not stand or sit near an evil person. Again, certainly it's not our job to judge anybody, but I guess you'd understand the reverse as well, how it's something special about davening next to a special person or a holy person. When you daven in your house privately, you should also designate a place for yourself so that you will not be disturbed by the members of the family. So this is very relevant in this Corona era, that you should have a set place that's where you always daven. And your family knows it. They know when you're in that exact spot, you're davening. Yeah, if you haven't done it yet, pick that corner of your house or that table or chair, wherever it is, and designate that as your designated spot for davening. Okay. One final halacha. It is a mitzvah to rush when going to the synagogue or to the Beis Medrash or to perform any other mitzvah. As it is written, let us run to know Hashem. It is also written, in the way of your commandments, I will run. Therefore, even on Shabbos, now on Shabbos, a person is not allowed to exercise. However, it is permissible to run in order to do a mitzvah, meaning in order to get to shul. You would be allowed to run to shul. However, once you're in the shul or in the Beis Medrash, in the Torah center, it is forbidden to run because that would already be disrespectful. So you've run to shul, and as you get there, you suddenly slow down your pace. And upon arriving at the entrance of the shul, it is proper to pause slightly in order not to enter suddenly, meaning so that you enter gradually with respect. You should tremble with awe before the splendor of his glory. Blessed be his name. And recite the verse. I haven't seen this as a common practice to recite this verse, but you certainly could. As for me, through your abundant kindness, etc. It's through your kindness, Hashem, that you let me come to your house, meaning to the shul, which is like a request for permission to enter. And then you should enter and walk with reverence and fear as one who walks before a king. In those communities where the Jewish people have their own streets, it is a mitzvah to put on the talis and tefillin at home and then walk to shul if there's no concern of anything inappropriate being in the street, anything dirty or inappropriate. In a place where they reside amongst the Gentiles, or if a person must walk through filthy alleys, it is preferable to put on his talis and tefillin in the corridor of the shul, because there's great merit in entering into the shul already wrapped in talis and tefillin. Thank you for joining us. Wishing you a wonderful evening.